Peace. This is a meat and potato sorcery production starring myself, the Water Alchemist, and today's topic for the occult family is what is the end game? Well, unfortunately, for those who are still in denial, and it's not just trogs, I'm going to get to you later. It's not just trogs slash mouth breathers. It's people who have become their worst enemy by being in denial and still thinking that they have a stake in this country and this third world reality. You don't. And nothing speaks to that than all the so-called pandemics. And this is no different. Now, I want to talk about certain things that can help you. Now, I want people to connect the dots when it comes to eugenics and certain catastrophes, because the so-called end game is culling. Culling is basically population control by any means. That is what it is. Because in culling, you make this grandiose decision that only certain people should be allowed to live and to reproduce. And we've seen this in the case with zoologist Charles Davenport. Feel free to look him up. And people may say, well, why is this important? Because a lot of people invested money, even people that you don't think were what eugenics was. Don't believe me? W.E.B. Du Bois was part of the Negro Project with Margaret Sanger. Margaret Sanger, who was supported by who? Say it with me, the Rockefeller Foundation. The same John D. Rockefeller who was like, I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. Because if you're a thinker and you're artistic and you're an empath, you're not going to let nobody dog you. You're going to eventually come to a intellectual crossroads and know your worth. So can't have that. So Charles Davenport was pushing all these things along with Francis Galton, along with Henry Lofton. They were all pushing for eugenics. And yes, was African Americans targeted? Absolutely. But they weren't the only one. Jews who were subhuman, the Irish, they were targeted, as well as Italians, who they said, and I quote exactly, they are prone to violence. So when everything had came along in 2020, when it came to the pandemic, who benefited? Anthony Fauci, Deborah Birx, because Deborah Birx, when she served over Obama, there was one time that she even did not renew her medical license. And let me show you how slow a lot of trogs are. Ooh, Dr. Birx, where'd you get your scars from? That was in the New York Post. All they got to do is wave something shiny in front of you, trogs, and you like, ooh, shiny. That's all they have to do. And I'm going to help the family out as well as trogs, unfortunately. In March of 2020, the former Surgeon General, Jerome Adams, said that masks will not stop the spread of COVID. I'm going to take it one step further. When people were spreading miseducation about AIDS and how it was connected to HIV, who came out the gate? Dr. Peter Duesberg and Dr. Carrie Mullis. Got a Nobel Peace Prize and invented the PCR test. He met his demise in August 7th, 2019. But he was coming out there and said, Anthony Fauci is full of it. He's just an administrator. And he said that pretty much out of his own mouth. So we have to look at all the players who were making money. Like Bill Gates. And I'm going to give you some insights on Bill Gates. In 2010, his net worth at that time was $53 billion. 6 months before COVID came along, it jumped up to $113 billion. And this is the same person who's not a medical doctor, not a biochemist, not a virologist. But what was he doing? He was giving people vaccines in Africa and in India, and it led to sterility. But wait, there's more. People say, well, that may be an accident. Nah, not likely. Because December the 10th, 1974, Nixon was pushing that. Population control. And the memo has said, this is what we want to do. We want to reduce numbers in Africa, Latin America, Asia. Oh, no, just not China, but the rest of Asia. Why? Because you got to knock out Japan, Korea, the Philippines, Thailand, and definitely Vietnam. Because when the Vietnam conflict happened, now America is a militaristic nation, so they shouldn't have won. But Ho Chi Minh had magic on his side. Yeah, that's how they won. But I'm going to help out people because I was really appalled and sickened how a lot of people had bit the bait and wouldn't let you come over to their house if you didn't get the shot and you didn't really love your family. See, a lot of people forgot that. Nah, not mentor. I never forget. So the whole thing is here I come with my powers of logic, reason, and discernment. And my thing is, if you try what you try with a lot of people, you will be dead and buried before the Amber Alert goes out. Okay? Facts. So, we can go over all that. And there is a documentary that I very much encourage people to see. If you have Amazon Fire Stick, download the Tubi app. So if you don't have it, download it on your Amazon, or you can download it to your iPhone or your Android. And the name of the documentary is Shots from Eugenics to Pandemic. So you don't never let Trogs forget, because I know sometimes we like, well, they just old, they just, no mercy. This is the Aeon of Horse. You don't give no mercy. Because if it's something that an old person or somebody that goes to Reverend Pork Chop and, like, will pastor said, no. If you going to have 37 arguments with me, I'm coming with some receipts and I'm going to end your career vigorously. So the end game is culling, population control, period, point blank. You have people deciding who lives, who dies. And I'm going to add this one last note. The civil rights activist, Fannie Lou Hamer, do you know that she was sterilized without her consent? And that was one of the factors that steered her into activism. Let that sink in. So, with that, that is your meat and potato sorcery for the day. I'm the Water Alchemist. Be water, my friends. Peace.